Hey everybody, I'm back. I am north of the border. I'm in Scotland. Made it here tonight. Started off day 7 in Penrith this morning. The big news was the weather. Went out for a pizza last night after I did the old video blog malarkey, and it started raining. We knew it was coming, and come it did. So woke up this morning, still raining, so complete change because we've had good weather up till now, pretty much, apart from a slight shower coming into Castle Donington, I think it was. But it was sort of grey skies all over. Weather was obviously in for some time, so that pretty much dominated proceedings. Comedy moment come at breakfast when one of the guys here, Chris, came down. In a very strange outfit, which we all duly pissed ourselves at, because he's a bit of a know-all, to be honest. If there's anyone who's grated slightly on this trip, it's probably been him. He's a maths teacher, and he's got that typical teacher thing of sort of lecturing everyone. And he's even Steve, my mate who I've been riding with, has said he's a geography teacher, and he said, "Oh, typical maths teacher, know-all." So it's not just me getting a bit funny with people after spending a certain amount of time with them. It's been noticed elsewhere as well. But he come down in some weird thing, sort of like, I don't know, he looked like something out of The Deadliest Catch or something. But we all duly gave him the disrespect it deserved. And it was pleasing to see after his comment about, oh well, I'll have the last laugh when I've got dry feet or whatever. We actually got to the first rest stop and he was changing because his feet were wet. So, yeah, don't quite know it all, do you, Chris? Childish but funny. So, yeah, the weather was deceptive actually. Although it was raining, if you kind of looked out at it, you thought, oh, it's not that bad. And actually got out on the road and I was quite happy for a bit. It's like, oh, a bit of a change, a bit of adversity. This sort of, makes the trip. It's the bits you remember afterwards. I know that from my last one. And, sort the men out from the boys, etc., etc. But that soon wore off after about 7 miles or so. Especially as my main bad weather jersey that I have had a bit of a wardrobe malfunction with that. It's a bummer. Usually it's some sort of Gore-Tex thing. It's seen me all through winter training and whatnot. But usually what happens when it rains, you see the water just sort of roll off it with whatever sort of fancy coating it's got. And that wasn't happening. It just sort of soaked straight through. So I can only think I've washed it a few times at some point with all the wear it's got through my winter training. And that's now been washed out and it's now water absorbent rather than waterproof, which is a real worry going forward actually. So that meant I got wetter and colder. Got to the first brew van, put some more layers on. I didn't put enough on when we went out. Like I say, it was deceptive. You thought, oh, it's not that bad, but when you're out on it for a while, you realise, oh, actually, yeah, it's not great. So I put extra layers. I should have put them on at the start. I should have known from previous experience, but you never do. I should put extra on and then take them off if necessary, rather than go out wearing possibly too little and think, I'll put extra on if I need it. But I would say you learn, but I probably won't. But hopefully I will remember it going forward. So I put my Smurf boot things, overshoe things on. They look ridiculous. I don't like wearing them, but if they keep your feet a bit warmer or drier, then it's a win. I put them on. I put a thermal layer on under me stuff. Did a bit of a striptease by the side of the road, and warmer gloves and whatnot. But was still getting colder. I was actually wanting some heels. It was quite an easy day today, terrain-wise. But ironically, I was actually wanting some heels so that I'd warm up a bit on them. So I was getting a bit cold, but made it to lunch. It wasn't enjoyable, but made it. We went through, well, not through, we passed Carlisle. Picked up a bit of the route that we did on Land's End, John the Groats, and just big sort of nondescript roundabouts outside Carlisle. Yeah, that was at the point it was probably my coldest and wettest. Not just uncomfortable, it just makes things tricky. It's harder to ride through. You get raindrops on your glasses and your Garmin sat nav, so I took a few wrong turns, missed a couple of turns. So it's just little things like that make it all a bit more crappy, but that's the way it is. That's the weather in this country, and if you're going to go cycling for 2 weeks, you've got to expect it, I think. But we did make it for lunch. Passed into Scotland before that. Nearly didn't bother stopping at the Welcome to Scotland sign, because you stop, you just get colder and wetter and have to take off your gloves to take a photo and whatnot. And I thought, sod it, I've had a photo there before. But I thought, no, don't be silly. So I stopped and got a few photos, and I'm glad I did. Yeah, it was a bit colder and wetter than last time I was there. And then we passed in Scotland and had lunch in, I keep wanting to say Arran, but it's Annan, and had a soup and a hot chocolate. Got some extra layers out of my luggage and put them on. So I had about 5 layers in the end. I had my thermal undergarment thing, whatever it is. I had my cycling shirt. Then I put a gilet or whatever you want to pronounce it, it's like an armless thing, body warmer thing on, which hopefully was a bit more waterproof. Then I had my wet, non-waterproof thing on. Then I've got a very thin cagoule thing that I put on over that. So that might give you an idea of the level of desperation I was at to stay a bit warmer and drier in the second half of the day. Sitting down having my lunch, there was just dripping pools of water beneath me. Feet were soaked, but I won't go on about it. You get the general idea. It was cold and wet. Survived it. It did dry out after lunch, thank goodness, a little bit. I whizzed along with the 5 guys, 5 people that normally or always sort of tend to ride a bit faster and go at the front. It was nice flat terrain. I was feeling good. Second day in a row. That was good. That was a good thing after my wobble a few days ago. Good that I've had 2 good days on the bike now. So whizzed along with them for the first stint after lunch. 20 miles. Whizzed along nice and quickly to the afternoon brew van. And then they were all hanging about a bit. I thought, oh, sorry, I'm just going. So I went off by myself. It was only another 20 miles or so. So I went off and rode the last stint by myself. Went through Dumfries, although I thought it was Stranraer at the time. You sort of pass through places and you lose your whereabouts and, you know, your geography. But yeah, it was Dumfries we went through. And we made it to Thornhill, which is just north, must be about 20 miles north of Dumfries. 80 miles in total, good speed today, about 12.6 miles per hour, average moving speed. I've not compared the rest of the days, but I know it's a lot quicker than yesterday and a few days before. And considering we're now a week in and 500 miles on the board, I'm quite pleased with that. Not a lot of photos today because there's no way I was stopping for photos in the morning with the weather being what it was, and it's a bit of a transitional day as well, going from the picturesque northern parts of England, and there's some really nice scenery coming up, but where we are now, just in the borders, there's some rolling hills and stuff, and it's pleasant enough, but it's not stunning. So I took a couple of photos, but not loads. Got to the inn where we're staying tonight. I got there first, actually. I think it's the first time I've done that, but I was keen to get in, especially after I got in late last night, riding along slow with Steve yesterday. So I got in, getting some laundry done, which is much needed after today. Also found got my wallet out and found my train pass, my money is all wet and stained, so everything got a drenching today. Lots of talk about midges now because we're heading over to the west coast of Scotland, and everyone seems to have been recommended a different spray or something, or got their own tips on how to avoid it. So I got one the guides to get me some repellent spray today. He's a proper hardy outdoorsman. He's going to the Antarctic to look after some scientists for 6 months in September, and he's done it before, so he's a proper nutcase. But he's a Scot, and so he got me some stuff. Hopefully that'll do the job. We'll see. Bit of madness this morning. I was cycling along singing "Only Happy When It Rains" by Garbage, and that is probably about it. Had a nice meal tonight, hoping to get my head down nice and early because I'm hoping for another good day on the bike tomorrow. We head over to I don't know the name of where the port is, but we get the ferry over to Arran, which everyone is really looking forward to, and where things should really start getting interesting. The scenery should really start taking off. Weather's supposed to be better for a day or two, so that is brilliant. And I want to ride well tomorrow so I can get an earlier ferry, because it's not like every half hour or so. There's a bit of a gap. So if I ride well, I can get a slightly early one and get in a bit earlier and all that business. So I think that's about it for today. I will bore you no longer. Anyone who's still out there listening, good spirits. Worried about my jacket. If we get more weather, if the weather had gone on all day, if it didn't clear up a bit at lunchtime, that would have been really hard. So I might need to try and either get some alternative clothing or get that thing reproofed, or try the cycling with 5 layers on again, but we'll see, because this morning wasn't pleasant from that perspective. So that's about it. More tomorrow when we're going further into Scotland and getting a ferry and doing some island hopping. Bye bye.